Miami, make some noise. I'm going to talk loud, guys. This mic might be a pinch hot. First off, I want to say thank you to James, the entire RSVP family, Ariana, Nicole, every single member of the staff, production. You've provided us with such an amazing experience these last few days, so thank you from the bottom of my heart. And on behalf of myself and everyone in here, we're so grateful, so thank you so much. Today we have a fun topic. We've got smoke and mirrors, and when James first said, Chris, we're going to do S&M, I'm like, ooh, S&M, all right. For me, that means the cuffs will be French, and the 50 Shades were apparently pink, so let's go with that. It's my only joke I brought. Thanks, Craig. There's one in here. I think when most of us hear the term smoke and mirrors, the first thing that comes to mind is perhaps a negative connotation. Perhaps it's inauthenticity. Perhaps it's fakeness. Perhaps it's just this illusion of things that aren't based in reality. But what I want to do today is I want to challenge each and every one of us to reframe the idea of smoke and mirrors as merely just an illusion, but as two incredibly powerful tools that each and every one of us can use to amplify our brands, our business, our message, and most importantly, create a stronger alignment with our ideal clients, our community, and help take us to where we want to go and help our overall mental health, which is very important in our crazy little business. We live surrounded by smoke and mirrors every single day. Smoke is the illusion that we are projecting, and the mirrors, for me, reflect who we truly are. We can't have one without the other, or else we're creating imbalance. What's in the smoke anyway? It's the beautiful illusion of perceived perfection, the perfect logo, our perfect curated social media grid, the perfect photo. Craig, where are you? The perfect outfit. Let's give it up for Craig really quick, everybody. Not only did he style the Seersucker 7 last night, but he has been the man behind my outward style for a very long time. So thank you, Craig. Love you, buddy. What's in the stuff? The smoke. When we're blowing smoke, this is the curated perfection. This is the prestige. This is the performance. And I don't mean performing as a character. I mean our personal performance. I look around this room and I see the very, very best in the industry. And when you show up and you get that outfit on and you show up to do that job, you're performing at your very highest caliber. Inside the smoke is going to be these high-profile jobs, our press features, those elite vendor lists, awards, being at these incredible parties. We've all been blowing our smoke on social media these last 24 hours. Oops. Smoke serves a purpose, though. Beyond just amplifying the message, the smoke creates buzz. The smoke shows your success. It establishes social trust, attracts new followers, builds PR, and brand positioning. Every time you do that wedding that was bigger and better and more fabulous than the last, you're showing your brand positioning. You're creating an opportunity for the followers out there, the people of the world, to see that you are perhaps changing lanes or you're doing something bigger and better that you were doing before. Smoke also serves another purpose, which this year was very important for me. This was a challenging year, right? Yeah, I think across the board. I think this is the first time in a lot of our careers that we've experienced a shift of generations. Okay, we've gone from these millennials now to these Gen Zs. A lot of things changed. Some of us were prepared for it. Some of us weren't. So the way I used smoke this year was keeping the appearance of momentum in a challenging year, right? Q1 was pretty rough. But I continued to put myself in the rooms, in the places, across the globe. RSVP Mykonos, that was a pretty good one. But let's do it. Using the smoke to tell the world still that I might not be doing weddings, but I am traveling the world. I'm getting in the room. I'm making opportunities. So it served as a smoke screen, a very important tool of smoke. We're using the smoke also to leverage new clientele in new markets. Every time I go to a new market, obviously we're going to shoot it beautifully. I'm going to connect with local vendors, local creative partners, local industries, local tourism boards, very important if you're doing international work, and you're able to leverage that smoke and that success to build new markets. It also effectively showcases your style. Thank you, Craig. Meet and foster new industry contacts. I've met so many amazing new friends. So thank you, guys. We're going to start to nurture our new industry contacts. And this is going to transcend smoke into the mirrors later, but this is very important. The smoke is also used to create new opportunities. When you get that big published feature and you amplify that message, when you shoot at that incredible venue in the south of France, you amplify your message. So this is using smoke to promote and to create momentum. Let's talk about behind the illusion. This is my favorite part. 22-hour flights, 4 a.m. calls, missing the game, missing the party, missing the plane, the sweat, the tears, the hustle, the sacrifice, checking into the hotel, checking out of the hotel, packing my suitcase, unpacking my suitcase. Thanks, Craig. A lot of suits in that suitcase. Packing again, unpacking, Uber, Lyft, walk, run, 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 run. Does that sound like anybody else's life? Yeah. We strive to create this perfection, ultimately to just get trapped by it. And on top of all this, on top of all those things I just said, we have to make it all look great too. It's exhausting. Like, when you join me for my deep out, I'll share the story of the Amsterdam airport when it was a snowstorm and I was leaving Canary Islands from last RSVP. And I was in nothing but a t-shirt, freezing, and my flight got canceled and the lounges weren't open. And we'll share that story later. That was a crazy story. Little by little, if all we're doing is blowing smoke, it's possible that we become obsessed with our own curation. And when that happens, it's easy to get lost in the illusion of perfection. When we start posting things we don't truly believe in, just to get the likes or just to, create the smoke. When we're saying yes to that red flag client just for the transaction and not for the connection. I don't know about you guys, but when I take on a client, the level of myself and my soul and the connection that is required for me to make the type of images I want to make, not only for myself, but for these incredible couples, it has to be based on the connection. And every time in my life I have taken one just for the transaction, it has left me feeling a little empty. For me, I get lost in the illusion the most when I'm not at the party, my FOMO, when I get to watch all you guys at incredible spots and I'm stuck doing something else. That hurts me. I like to be there with you guys. When perfection is solely the product, anything less can start to feel like failure. You could have done the most incredible, this huge job that was it was so amazing, but you're chasing perfection. You're chasing something that doesn't exist. And if one little thing is out of order, if the napkin's not the exact shade of periwinkle or whatever we're working with, it can feel like a failure, even though by every other metric, it was incredible. And when this starts to happen, and this was happening to me when I was chasing this idea of perfection again and again and again, I was really beating myself up if it wasn't the perfect everything. So what I began to do, and once I made this shift, it exponentially calmed my central nervous system. And what I did is I started to replace perfection with personal excellence. Okay? Replace perfection with personal excellence. When you're showing up and you are pouring every fiber of what you have into that client, into that job, into that experience that you are creating. I mean, I don't know about you guys, but who's incredibly grateful for this crazy life we all get to live? I mean, we get invited to the best parties, and most of the time they pay us a ton of cash. It's kind of like a racket. But what I learned is that when I started to replace that perfection with excellence, I was so much happier. My clients were so much happier. When we can't make that shift, it's easy to start to get lost in the haze, okay? When we're just showing just the glitz, just the glamour, all the surface, all the topical stuff, all the shiny things, we can start to choke on the smoke eventually. And when that happens, again, we can question our self-worth if we're not booking at the chateau to who knows where. When we say yes to the clients when we should have said no. The illusion of perfection that we're creating is not just outward facing. It's not just for the clients. We're also creating our own illusion of perfection to ourselves. We think we have to keep proving ourselves to belong, but we don't. We don't. When we replace that perfection with personal excellence, we don't have to do that anymore. Otherwise, you're just blowing smoke. When you're just focused on the shiny things, we can lose sight of our core values. And when that happens, it costs so much more than it pays. It costs us time, it costs us authenticity, it costs us joy. Service and branding without connection is just the smoke. The mirror. I absolutely love the mirror. Where the smoke is all the glitz and just all the glamour, the mirror serves as the reflection of your core values, who you are, what you stand for, how you want to interact with the world around you. For me, it's connection and kindness and gratitude. I nearly died in a surf accident in 2008. I went headfirst into a shallow sandbar, fractured my back in 3 places, broke a small bone in the back of my skull, which led me to 8 days in the hospital with the doctor telling me that if it had gone a 0.5 millimeter in any other direction, I either would have had a catastrophic stroke, would have been paralyzed from half my body, or it would have just severed something and would have bled to death in my brain. So from that moment on, the lens of which I experience the world, my friends, my community, my craft, has been grounded in an absurd amount of gratitude. It's the only thing that I really have that I can give unlimited amounts of. And that makes me so happy. The mirror reflects your brand values. What does your brand say about you? Who are you as a person? How do you want to be perceived? How do you want to interact? What legacy do you want to leave? You know, if I'm going to an event and I'm not making every single person there at least a little bit happier than when they walked in, then I did not do my job correctly. Brand values plus your client values equals trust. And that trust can only be anchored in ideals from the mirror. It won't be anchored in the smoke. Your brand is your true story, your mirror, your reflection, and it must be told incredibly. My friend Nirji over here said that premium is a price point and luxury is a paradigm. Nailed it. Absolutely crushed it. What that means is luxury is not a price. Luxury is a feeling, it's an experience. It's how you can uplift those around you. When every one of us walked into this beautiful hotel, this handsome bellhops opening the door, welcome. Instantly you feel at home. Luxury is a warm hug. It's not a cold shoulder. It's also a nice watch, but that's not a start. Little smoke, you got to use both, team. Because the truth is, clients don't actually seek perfection. They seek excellence. They seek connection, and they seek realness. They will see through the BS all day. I know James would want me to use the real S word, but they see through the BS. This is what they want. Like I said, we are experiencing a shift of generations. Most of us is the first time this has happened. The youngest millennials are getting married off now, and the oldest Gen Zers are starting to come to the market. Their mindset has changed. Their desires have changed. Their purchasing power their purchasing patterns have changed. They can afford anything. They have seen everything, but the one thing they can't buy it, is authenticity. So the more you are using the mirror to connect and to align you're going to attract this younger generation in ways that you haven't been able to see just yet. They want to work with people who know who they are. They know what they stand for. They need leaders. Like these young kids, like I'm a member of Gen X, so these are kind of like, my kids, the older versions of like my kids' generation. We've held their hands so much. We've kind of spoiled this generation a little bit in a great way. I mean, fantastic way, but what that means is they've spent all this time on the phones, and when we were kids, we were out in the world. I was gone at 6 a.m., be home by dinner, right? So they need leaders. And the more we can be their leader, the more they're going to be attracted to our service and the experience we're going to provide them. Luxury is not about being the most expensive. It's about being the most aligned with your core values and aligning with your client's core values. And when that synergy happens, then they stop their search and they are ready to go, ready to book. And we can't be aligned if we're only hiding behind the illusion, and we can't connect if we're merely performing as a character instead of serving as our true selves. Everyone knows like the party version of Chris. My good friend John Schnack, he's not here, but he's Schnack Attack. He said a really awesome thing to me, and I think this is great for all of us. He said, Chris, what I love most about you is you've got two versions. You've got wholesale Chris, is when you're at these parties and interacting with everyone as the fun party Chris, and then you got retail Chris. Like when I see you on a job, it's like, is it stand a little taller? The suits are obviously black, no pink suits, unless it's on the mood board, actually. But I think that was a really interesting point because what he was saying is, I've seen the smoke and I've seen the mirror, which was really cool. Seek the truth and reveal the beauty. This has been my mantra for several years now. And what this means to me, for me, it's really about the experience of how I go about photographing couples, but I think we can all take things from this into our business. What that means is there's no cookie cutter experience. No two people look at each other the same way. No two people stand the same way, right? So when I used to be invested, the square-chested groom and the girl pose, I guess we all seen that one. It's my George Michael moment there. Oh, somebody got it. That was no longer fulfilling me as an artist, right? So what became more important to me was to capture the true versions of themselves. And I think if each and every one of us can infuse that search of the truth into our client experience and journey, we will reveal so much beauty. What happens when you trade the smoke for the mirror? We attract better clients. We collaborate with each other more joyfully. We grow sustainably. You wake up excited to create. Because after all, we are in the business of storytelling, not just telling our client's story, but we're also telling our own story. All right, I got some good nuggets for everybody, and then we're going to do some questions. I got about 9 of these. Let's take action. Let's lead with alignment and not approval. Ask yourself, am I building a brand that feels like me, that is me, or am I building a brand that looks and feels like someone else? Show the process and not just the product. Again, this new generation of buyers want to see how you are going to lead them, how you're going to hold their hand and take them to the finish line. Set boundaries that protect your creative integrity. You amplify your authenticity each time you lead with grace and gratitude. Each time. Chase the truth and not the trends. The mirror reflects your purpose, your values, and your why. Carve your own path. No one does it like you do. Don't ever try to copy anybody else. Was it thief of invention? Comparison's the thief of joy. So carve your own path. Smoke may sell for a season, but the mirror sells for a lifetime. I like that one. Smoke sells for a season. Because behind it all, each and every one of you is the magic. Your talent, your taste, your eye, your values, that's the asset. That's the product. Thank you, everybody. Sign up for my mailing list. I'm going to send everyone here a free copy. I've got this really beautiful brand workbook. You can carve out some of your core values, your ideal clients. So follow along the community, and I can't wait to send that to everybody. We got about 10 minutes of some Q&A, so who wants to go first? Come on. Craig, what you got? Yeah.
How obsessed are you with building your brand? We're talking about obsession. We talked about it yesterday. How can you be obsessed at the level that we're playing? How obsessed do you have to be to operate at that level?
Craig asked how obsessed I have to be to operate at this level. Well, when I first started, right, and all of a sudden it became clear that there was a path to like a career here, I took my life, which at that point I was waiting tables, I was surfing, I was living on Maui, I was like just in my board shorts 24/7, right? And then my Aloha shirt for work. But once this path illuminated, Craig, the whole world came into this cylinder for me, right? And I was literally, all I could see was this tiny pinhole. But I chased that light at the end of that tunnel so relentlessly that there were obstacles and roadblocks. We've all experienced them. But when I was that focused and that locked in and that obsessed, everything just bounced off. And yeah, it's super important. Yes?
Have you ever had a point where you had to check yourself because you did find yourself slowly drifting more toward a trend and away from what was more true to you?
She asked if I've ever had to check myself because I was drifting towards a trend. Of course. It's hard right now. We're operating in a world where everyone sees everything all the time, right? So let's just compare it to photography for a first moment here. For years and years and years, we had the Jose Villa gold standard. It was clean, it was soft, it was pretty, it was pastels, it was curated perfection, okay? He's a mentor of mine, he's incredible, right? Then all of a sudden we had this shift. We had the shift to the John Dolan experience, right? More spur of the moment, loose, free, more seeking the truth and revealing the beauty. So all of a sudden, the entire pendulum shifted, right? Before our eyes. And if people weren't, and for me, I was chasing this perfection, this really beautiful Jose Villa thing. And then all of a sudden, we had to change, right? Because if that's not selling and the clients don't want that, well, how can we take the trends authentically, utilize them, and then give it our version, our spin, without copying anybody else? But when it comes to trends, my favorite quote of all time is Karl Lagerfeld, and he said, "Trendiness is the final stage before tackiness." So it's finding the balance. In the back.
Thanks for your talk, Brian here from W1 Music. Just wanted to say thanks for what you were saying about gratitude. I really love that. And especially because, like you said there, comparison is the thief of joy. If you think of gratitude is the antidote to this chasing, this FOMO. If comparison is like wanting what other people have, gratitude is that peace that you find being content with what you have. It doesn't need to lower your ambition. But I do think we all need to, for me, that's been really important. And so I wanted to ask you, I love what you said about having so much gratitude. Do you have a gratitude practice or anything? Do you have a gratitude journal, anything like that? Or is it, what can you speak to on that?
For sure. So he asked my gratitude rituals. It starts every single morning. I'm typically up at 5 a.m. unless I'm at RSVP, partying until 5 a.m. But first thing I do when I wake up, I've got my very first micro gratitude moment, and as soon as those eyes open and I take that conscious breath, thank you for another opportunity to be alive, to breathe. I was laid up in a hospital bed for 8 days. I had to relearn to walk again. So the fact that I can have these moments and my body is now strong again and all those things, that has created so much gratitude. So that's step one. And then, when I see my wife and my kids and I'm experiencing the world through this incredible lens, I just try to find micro moments every single day that bring me joy, and I just lock them in.
Thank you for your talk. Can you talk a little bit about the balance of reading your identity while catering or focusing on the brand of the client? How do you work on creating your own brand while your client is really a priority?
She asked how I focus on building my brand at the same time aligning with the clients who are also the priority. Well, I truly believe that they're one and the same as far as like the clients I want to book are going to have reflections of my personality, right? So I'm not trying to be a brand for everybody. I want to be a brand where the groom, a lot of times now, are ordering their suits from Craig. It's Craig shout out number 36, right? So what that means is that when I'm showing who I am and my style and how I want to present in the world, my ideal couple is like, that's the guy. Like, he's going to totally play along. And at this point, when all my events are 3-day events somewhere like around the world, I'm getting the mood board. My whole team is dressing to the mood board. All of RSVP is just practice for going to the wedding as far as mood board goes. So it's aligning by showing who I am, best serving the client. They're knowing what they're going to get with me and my brand. So that's how I kind of infuse the two. I think we got time for a couple more. Yes?
What happens when a client is really excited to work with you and they feel like they're a good fit for you, but you don't feel like you're a good fit for them? How do you turn them down? Do you refer someone else? How does that go?
He asked, how do I turn clients down that want to work with me? It's really challenging, and it doesn't happen very often. Earlier in my career, there was a lot more. Before I had clarity of my brand and who I was and what I stood for and how I wanted to make this experience happen, there was misalignment then. But I've been really, really fortunate that, like what I said before, just continuing to amplify my story, style, grace, and gratitude are my 3 pillars. It seamlessly is bringing in the right people. And it's the connections I have with my network of planners that know when they onboard a client that I'm going to be a good fit. Yes.
Hi.
Hi.
So you're saying, you want to be true to your brand, right? But what if you have a business partner and with 2 strong personalities? Val, stand up and say hi.
Hi.
So you have.
She's throwing you under the bus right now. What's happening?
How do you? See, this is my point. So now you have 2 strong personalities.
Yeah.
And how do you make it, true to us? I guess. How do you do that?
So I would suggest a big bottle of tequila tonight for both you guys. No, you need to find your alignment first with each other. True alignment. True alignment on the brand, where you want to go, personal style, all these things. And you can still be opposite. You don't need to be. You can be good cop, bad cop. That totally works too.
That's what we do all the time.
But just as long as the brand is a singular alignment, then you two can be very charismatic yin and yang and make it work really, really well. She's smiling. I got you. And the mood boards are good for both you guys, so we got time for one more. Brian.
I know you as somebody that is truly humble. You are someone that when you get to talk to you, and I hope people that don't know you do talk to you, that you come across as someone that's very personable, but also very accessible, which we've talked about this, can be a little different than the brand, which is fashion and excellence and all this other stuff. How do you internally navigate that? Because your brand is to show the highest level of achievement, essentially, and the highest level of appearance. Sometimes frustratingly so for us. But how do you go about it internally? Do you make deliberate efforts to just try and dial it down, or to be more casual in certain settings? I'm just curious.
It's a great question. I live my life in 3 different suits, Brian. My swimsuit, my wetsuit, and my party suits, right? And my birthday suit, I guess, so 4.
Does Craig do your swimsuits and your wetsuits?
The birthday suit is the best one he does. Thank you, Craig. No, you know what it is? Look, the clothes, that just goes on top, right? The smoke just goes on top, right? As long as I know I'm truly operating from the mirror, then I know that I'm serving myself and my community and my friends to the best of my ability. And it's just, look, I'm having fun. I love the style. My mom was a world famous fashion designer. I grew up in her shop as she was dressing beautiful brides of the 1980s, big celebrities, from Bruce Springsteen's wife to Kris Kardashian when she married Bruce Jenner. Like, I've been around this world of love and romance and style and fashion my whole life, so I truly love it. So it's just what goes on top.
Thank you very much, Chris. I'm going to stop us right there.
You're going to have to come find me in the breakout room, guys. Thank you so much. Love you all. Come talk to me.
Thank you.
Thank you.